If you wish to address City Council, you may do so. Write your name in the chat feature and wait to be called on. Speakers on video conference may turn on their cameras at that time and audio. If you want to join by phone, you can unmute yourself that time when you're called on, and be aware that we have a limit of 3 minutes. If you have a question that requires a response, we might direct you to an administrative staff member to follow up. So, let's see, we're just moving to the council agenda for tonight. Let's see. Aha. Do we have the picture of the flag for the pledge? We're going to try this. I love the dog. There we go.
There it is.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America,
and to the
the Republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
for all.
for all.
Okay, right. Very good. Now, roll call, please. City Clerk, would you call the roll?
Sure. Mayor McClellan?
Here. Oh, I am here in the city of Oak Park in the county of Oakland.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Burns?
Carolyn Burns, City of Oak Park, Oakland County. Thank you.
Councilmember Edgar?
Julie Edgar, City of Oak Park Council, reporting from Oak Park, Michigan and Oakland County.
Councilmember Radden?
President, Oak Park, Oakland County.
And Councilmember Whitehead?
President, City of Oak Park, Oakland County, Michigan.
I think that's everybody.
Thank you very much. Hunting for my agenda. Somebody would post it, please. I would be appreciative. Post the agenda. You are running the meeting. Thank you. We need a motion to approve the agenda. Thank you. And is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. The consent agenda are routine items, but any council member, if you would like to have one discussed, ask to have one of these removed. Regular City Council meeting minutes of September 20. Public Safety Activity Summary Report for July 2021. Recycling Commission meeting minutes. Beautification Advisory Commission meeting minutes. Request to approve payment of invoices from OHM Advisors for Safe Routes to School, Construction and Engineering, Oak Park AWIA Risk and Resilience, ERP, Water Reliable Study Update, and Stormwater Charge Support with a total amount of $28,680. Request to authorize the Department of Public Works to enter into an governmental agreement with the City of Ferndale to utilize their storage yard for leaf pickup, subject to final review from the City Attorney. G, request to Request to approve an agreement with the Road Commission for Oakland County for winter maintenance on Greenfield Road from 8 to 11 mile roads and on 10 mile road from Greenfield to Woodward, subject to review by the city attorney. This is a regular repeating request. H, request to adopt the Michigan Department of Transportation Performance Resolution and to authorize the Assistant City Manager, Deputy Director of Public Works, Director of Technical and Planning Services, the Deputy Director of Technical and Planning Services, and the City Engineer to make applications for permits on behalf of the City of Oak Park. I, request to approve proposed change orders number 1. Change order number 1 in the amount of $7,385.69 to our benefit, and payment application number 3 in the amount of $4,566.21 to American Fence Company of Warren, Michigan for the 2020 Decorative Fence Project, $695. Thank you, which looks wonderful, by the way. Request to approve proposed change order number 2 in the amount of, I think we read that one, $23,810.00, and payment application for 5 in the amount of $19,188.40 to the American Fence Company of Warren, Michigan for the 2020 Decorative Fence Project M695. And finally, licenses, new and renewals submitted for October 4th, 2021. We need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
can we discuss item F about the, transfer of our leaves to Ferndale? I think that's F, right? Just,
Absolutely. It's a regular yearly thing, but we'd be delighted to discuss it. So let's approve the consent agenda without item F. Is there a motion to approve?
so moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. First, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. Let's take a look at item F. Director Vecchio, if you can put that back on the screen, I would appreciate it. F is request to authorize the Department of Public Works to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Ferndale to use their storage yard for leaf pickup, subject to final review from the city attorney. First, we need a motion to approve F.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second.
Second.
Thank you. And then discussion by the Director of Public, DPW Director, probably Kevin, to just explain what this is and why are we doing it. And
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of City Council. Yes, this is an annual agreement, as you had stated, Madam Mayor, that we work with Ferndale and utilize. They have a storage yard fairly close to our DPW yard, and we take our leaves there. They have a ramp to dump the leaves. They use a loader to dump the leaves directly into large trucks that haul it out to the compost site. When I first started in Public Works, we used to bring them to our Public Works yard, which is very cramped anyway. And we used to dump them in our yard, and then from there we would have to use a loader to dump them into dumpsters, and the dumpsters would have to be picked up. And it was a very messy and smelly operation. Neighbors didn't like it, and it caused us a lot of problems. So we looked to our neighbors to the east, who had a nice big yard very close to us, and they had a perfect situation to handle our leaves. So we pay them to be honest with you, a very small portion of what it actually cost us to do it ourselves. So it was a win-win, and it's very worthwhile.
terrific. Thank you. Councilmember Edgar, do you have any questions?
So it's roughly $15,000 during leaf pickup season.
Correct.
This is an environmental question. Assistant Director, why do we why do we get rid of leaves anyway? I mean, why not just leave leaves? What would happen if we didn't pick up leaves
You
and
left
just
them on
told
your-
residents to leave them?
Leave them on your yard. In most cases, it would kill your grass if you don't mulch them up, and you can compost a certain amount of them in your yard. But if you left leaves on your grass over the winter time, it would kill the grass. So these are actually composted. They're taken out to a compost site in Rochester Hills, where they have a big machine that grinds them up all winter long and turns it into that compost that we have over in the ice arena parking lot that so many of our residents enjoy for gardening use. So it really is an environmental friendly process of taking them and actually using them for compost.
So how do we transport the compost back to the city?
The same way we truck it up there, we take, trucks are sent up to the compost site with leaves, and trucks are brought back down and delivered to wherever we ask them to deliver it to.
Thank you.
I have a comment. This is the same process we've used for the last couple of years, correct?
Yeah, we've probably used this process for, I don't know, 17, 18 years. I have a hard time putting it all together, but it was when I first went to Public Works, it wasn't like that, and we transferred over shortly thereafter just because of how small our yard was and all the operations going on at once. It really was a mess. So Ferndale had a nice big yard, and like I said, it's a win-win. We pay a portion of the cost for the equipment, personnel to load these, and it's loaded on much larger trucks and taken directly to the compost site. So it works out very well.
Yeah, I recall us doing this over the last couple of years since I've been on council. So, okay, just wanted to make that clear.
Yes.
Thank
correct.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the explanation. Any further questions? Okay, all those in favor of approving sending the leaves to Ferndale and saving us money, please say aye.
I
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. And Director Vecchio, if you could get the agenda on the screen, thank you. Do we have visiting city officials?
It looks like we do not.
Charlie Cavell, our city commissioner, usually attends but is not able to attend now, but he is great about sending us information. So if there's anything further from him, I'll make sure that we get it. Thank you. Let's see. Okay. We have a proclamation declaring October 2021 as Michigan Library Appreciation Month. I can't tell you how much we appreciate our library and our wonderful new librarian. Libraries are part of the community. Libraries are where we come together without any expectation of paying anything, to read quietly or to meet with others, have a book club. It is just such an important aspect of our city life and our community. So we are thrilled to present this proclamation, which I'm sure will be put up in the library. Do we need a motion? City Clerk?
No, but you just need to indicate that you're proclaiming
We are here.
October as the
Okay, we are hereby
month.
claiming October as Oak Park Library Month, and the Oak Park Library Board thanks us, and we thank them for their work in making the library the wonderful place that it is. Couldn't be more thrilled with all the wonderful programs that are coming out and the outreach, letting people know what's available for them. You can even get something notarized at the library. Anything. We are blessed. And so thank you very much. And everybody go to the library, because today I picked up a puzzle piece from the library, because we are all going to decorate a puzzle piece and put the puzzle pieces together to make one giant puzzle. So would everyone please stop by the library and get your numbered puzzle piece, and you draw the picture on the half that doesn't have the number on it, and then turn it back in, and we will together design a wonderful mural for the library. Director Schaff, we are thrilled to have you, and thrilled to have the library working so beautifully. Thank you.
Mayor, may I say a few words?
Yes, I would be delighted. This
Thank
is Director Kimberly Schaff, our new library director, who is extremely busy.
For those of you who don't know me yet, it's good to be here and good to see you. And I just want to thank you for that proclamation. Accept it on behalf of the library. And I would just like to say that the library also appreciates you all. So please come visit us.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. And then, oh, thank you. If our city council member, Solomon Radner, are you ready for a book presentation with Michael Weiss tonight?
I am not.
Okay, we will put that off for the meeting, and we will try and get them together. Michael Weiss is a Holocaust survivor who wrote a book that he would like to present to the library. So we will make that happen at another meeting. We have no public or communications. There is a special license request. Request for a special license submitted by BookBeat, Terry Lauren, 26010 Greenfield Road, for an outdoor book sale and Teacher Appreciation Day to be held October 17th, 2021. Having been a teacher, I can tell you there is nothing better than getting a book for your school library, school room library. So if you appreciate your teacher, come on down to BookBeat. Is there a motion for the special request?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Are there questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. There are no accounting reports or bids. We do have a second reading and adoption of an ordinance to amend Chapter 16, vacating the streets, Code of Ordinances of the City of Oak Park, Michigan by amending Section 66.2 thereof. Motion to approve the second reading and adoption.
So moved.
Thank you. Councilmember Edgar, is there a second? I think you need to unmute yourself for a second.
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Whitehead. Any discussion? This is something that we discussed at the last meeting, and this is just the second reading of it. City Clerk Ed Norris, would you call the roll?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Radner,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitehead.
Yes.
And carried unanimously. Thank you. And now back to the agenda. Thank you. We don't have anything from the city attorney. City Manager Eric Tungate.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. I wanted to include an overview regarding the public safety and solid waste millage renewals that will be on the November ballot coming up. And there's a really good article for our residents who may be wondering what this is in our city magazine on page 9, as a matter of fact, of our city magazine. But I wanted to spend just a few minutes just giving a quick overview of what this is. The public safety millage renewal it was originally approved in 2011, and it helps fund personnel, equipment, and operations in our public safety department. And I want to emphasize that this is a renewal. This is not a new tax. It is a renewal. And it helps us keep our public safety department running. The solid waste millage renewal is also a straight renewal. This is another not new tax situation. It is a straight renewal, and this also was approved originally in 2011. And it helps support our solid waste fund. It helps us fund items to help keep Oak Park clean and environmentally responsible, street sweeping, leaf pickup we were just talking about, and so forth, including, the new bins that were dubbed out a few years ago. Most importantly for our residents, as you look at the city's total millage rate, I wanted to point out that our millage rate in 2015 was 4 mils higher than it is today. And this is due in large part to us taking every opportunity to refinance some of our bonded debt, but also not going back to our taxpayers for new taxes. So whenever someone says to me, well, I'm paying more taxes than I ever have, and I say, no, you're not. That's just not accurate. Now, your taxable value might be higher, especially if you're a brand new resident, but you're not paying more taxes. In fact, the total city millage rate in 2015 was 37.6 mils versus in the current budget year, 33.85 mils. So almost 4 mils less than they were paying, just almost 6 years ago. So these renewals will both appear on the November 2nd ballot. And if they're not passed, if they're not renewed, then, we could lose upwards of $1 million a year in revenue that, as I just described, is very necessary to continue operating our public safety department and our solid waste functions. So with that, council members, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this time. Okay, I'm going to move on then to 15B, Director Sandra Crawford.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council, and City Manager Tungate. Before you, the Deputy Treasurer has prepared a list of properties that have outstanding charges for property blight, delinquent utilities, and false alarms. And we are requesting that the assessor be authorized to direct and prepare special assessment rolls for assessing these unpaid charges, together with a penalty of 10% to the real property tax roll. The recommended action is to adopt the attached resolution authorizing and directing the city assessor to prepare a special assessment roll.
So moved.
Thank you.
For a second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion or question? City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Edgar,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Radner,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitehead,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Okay,
Go ahead. Sorry.
thank you. 15C, Director Crawford, please.
Thank you. The City Council just received the list of the unpaid charges for expenses that incurred on private premises, prepared by the Deputy Treasurer and concurred by myself, Finance Director, and directed that the special assessment rolls be prepared. The recommended action is to adopt the special assessment resolution number 8, receive special assessment rolls establishing October 18th, 2021 as the date for the public hearing on the rolls for unpaid charges for the city expenses that incurred on private premises for the delinquent utilities special assessment number 695, for the unpaid false alarm charges special assessment roll number 696, and the property blight special assessment roll 697.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Discussion or question? A roll call then, please.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Radman,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitehead,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
and Councilmember Edgar.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Director Crawford. I'd like to ask Director Kimberly Maroney to go over 15D, please.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council members. As you know, over the past year and a half, we have done some business assistance packages for our businesses to help them with COVID-19 relief. Most of our businesses are still struggling, and the biggest hurdle they have in front of them right now is filling open positions. In the past, we did allow temporary signage to promote that they are open for business. This actual agenda item is proposing that we allow temporary signage not to exceed 32 square feet to allow them to advertise for open positions and hiring. We anticipate you allowing this until March of 2022 so that we can assist our businesses in filling their many vacant open positions.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Take your pick.
Thank you. Is there a discussion or question?
Where did the number 32 come from?
32 square foot. It's a reasonable size of a sign that we want to allow without allowing them to be too large and blight the city, let's say.
Okay, fair enough. Is that big enough? Or are the businesses like it to be bigger, or does that work?
I can tell you businesses always want bigger. However, we find that 32 square feet is more than adequate for the businesses to advertise for the need they have.
Okay, thank you.
Who do we need a vote?
I think a voice vote would be fine.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Okay, and last but not least, we have our Director of Communications, Courtney Flynn, for 15E, please.
Yes, good evening. Tonight I have the community announcements for the month of October, which we will start out with the Oak Park Film Festival, which will be taking place Friday through Sunday of this weekend. It'll be at various locations throughout the city, but the debut and the red carpet event, which I believe all of you received an invitation for earlier today, will be on Friday at Dog and Pony Show Brewing at 5 o'clock, I believe it is, or 5:30. And that will include live music, a red carpet, food options, and then a film screening of a feature film, and then various shorts. And then the schedule for the rest of the film festival is on our website and will be updated on our social media now that Facebook is back and working. We also have the Water Tower Social District, which is open to the public on 11 Mile. If any of you made it out to Autumn Fest this weekend, that's where it was located in. The district includes Dog and Pony Show Brewing and Oak Park Social. Information on hours and rules are available online. We have the low-cost pet immunization clinic on October 9th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Shepherd Park. We're partnering with All About Animals for health screenings, microchipping, heartworm testing, and vaccines. There will also be the option for pet owners to get animal licensing and spay and neutering for their pets. Curbside leaf pickup begins October 11th. We also have the Public Safety and Solid Waste Millage Renewal Town Hall next week, October 12th at 6 p.m. That will also be a Zoom meeting. The virtual access information is available on our Facebook and on our website. The third annual Bootification Awards are coming up on October 14th is the deadline to submit nominations at 4 p.m. For a nomination form, you can contact the Recreation Department at 248-691-7555. We have a movie in the park on Saturday, October 22nd, at 6 p.m. It'll be Hocus Pocus, and it'll be playing in Shepherd Park near Shelter 1. Boo Bash is October 23rd from 5 to 8 p.m. This year, the event is currently being planned for indoors with social distancing, limited persons in the building at a time, and wearing masks will be required as well. The library is partnering with the Detroit Institute of Art to virtually host the Detroit Style, which is a new automotive design exhibit, and this will be held on October 29th. It's virtual, and the event is free, but registration is required. And then we also have the November 2nd election coming up. The last day to submit a request for an absentee ballot to be sent by mail is Friday, October 29th by 5 p.m. The clerk's office will be open Saturday, October 30th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. for absentee voting. And then all absentee ballots must be returned by Election Day, which is November 2nd at 8 p.m. The farmers market ended last week, and it was a very successful year, and they exceeded their numbers from 2020 with an increase in shoppers, vendors, and food assistance dollars. The partnership with Oak Park High School was a wonderful addition. And then in terms of upcoming recreation programming, new classes include ballroom dance, hustle, drop-in hustle classes, and they've all resumed under instructor Maurice Adams. Classes are filling quickly, so please call the recreation department with any questions. Drop-in community activities include ping pong, Scrabble, Bidwist, chess club, and those will all return to the community center next week, which is the second week in October. The Bianco Mystery Tour trip is nearing capacity, so call now to register. The Teen Council is meeting on October 3rd at 4 p.m. At the Oak Park High School. And then Hip Hop Dance Club begins October 13th from 3:15 to 4 p.m. at the high school, and this will include the evolution of hip hop culture, starting from its roots. The program is sponsored by the Oak Park Library in partnership with Oak Park Recreation and the Oak Park School District, with a grant funded in part by Michigan Humanities, an affiliate of the National Endowment for the Humanities. And then there is also Trivia Night on October 14th at 6:30 p.m. in the Community Center, and it'll focus on the popular TV show Schitt's Creek. And that is all I have.
It's busy.
Okay, thank you so much, Director Flynn. Madam Mayor, members of council, that completes the city manager report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager Tungate. It's an amazing city, and it's booming.
Such a good mayor.
Next, we call to the audience. We would love to hear from you. Please give us your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Thank you so much. And Deputy Director Vecchio is going to man the phones.
Good evening, everyone. I do have a few members of the public who wish to speak. Crystal Bailey, you can go ahead and speak at this time. Crystal Bailey, are you still on?
Yes, hi, I'm sorry, I was on mute the whole time. I'm Crystal Bailey, a resident of Oak Park, 8646 Kimberton Drive, as well as a candidate for Oak Park Mayor. I do appreciate having the town hall we just had about our utility bill. However, I think it doesn't serve the community justice when we are having a school board meeting and a city council meeting at the same time, because me as a community member would like to be present at both. However, because I am running for mayor and no longer on the school board, I chose one meeting over the other. But I think for the community, we should probably do better scheduling of the meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Kenneth Sherman. Go ahead and speak.
Hi, Ken Sherman, 23840 Jerome in Oak Park. I have 2 questions or comments. First of all, DTE or their contractors were on my street in the past week cutting trees, and I wondered if somebody from the city can address the formula that they use to determine what houses were to have their trees cut, because to me it seemed very haphazard as to the way they went about cutting trees on my block, and for whatever reason my house did not have any trees cut by the folks from DTE or the folks that were doing it on behalf of DTE. And then my second question or comment is, except for when our cable channel is used to show city council meetings live or repeats, to me there seems to be an ongoing non-use of our city cable for anything live or pertinent. If you look at what's being played, it's from 1 or 2 years or 3 years ago. There's nothing relevant on our city council for communications purposes, and I do not understand why we continue to let that be. It's been like that for years and years and years, especially since we have a new communications director. I think we're wasting our money paying for a service that we hardly use. Thank you.
I know that there's a wonderful show by the city manager that is extremely valuable. Reviewing important people. That's one.
But that's only very haphazardly. That's not on any ongoing basis. You have a cable service that's there 24/7 that, except for what Mr. Tungate does for interviews or when you show live or repeat city council meetings, there's no other use of that service. All you do is show parades or things that took place, 1, 2, or 3 years ago. And so, you're not using or utilizing the citizens' money for any constructive purpose on an ongoing basis.
Thank you.
As a taxpayer, I really don't appreciate that.
Thank you. We will look into it. Thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
Madam Mayor, could I just speak back to the tree trimming question?
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Well, first, the mayor and I have both now met with DTE representatives individually, and I'm kind of still waiting for someone to explain to me their tree trimming formula in terms that I can understand. That being said, and all kidding aside, I do have a follow-up coming up next week with DTE to give us a better indication of how and why and when they're coming into our neighborhoods. And our hope is that obviously as they do that, we'll be able to relay that information on to our residents, because really this responsibility falls on DTE to, communicate effectively with their customers. And that's clearly not being done. So that was for sure one of our main points, that, you come in and scalp these neighborhoods, and in a lot of situations, they just leave the debris behind and move on to the next. And that's unacceptable for the type of standard that we have in our community. So more to come.
We have a meeting on the 10th, is that correct?
I think so.
So it will be the mayor, the city manager, our engineering department, our communications department, since they aren't communicating. And we will get specific answers about why your house wasn't taken care of and the other neighbor's house was, and when will they get to your house. It's time we got some answers. They have been doing the Texas two-step for too long.
I think just one more thing, if I could, Madam Mayor. I think the good news is that based on the input DTE and their vendors have received from us, they are putting a higher priority on Oak Park. So that's the good news. Bad news is, they're still continuing some of these poor communication practices and so forth. So we're going to hopefully, walk them through that and tighten that up and get them to improve their service.
So, thank you. Is there any other audience member who would like to speak?
Anyone else would like to speak, please drop your name in the chat or raise your hand on the participants list. Thought I had one more, but I have not been given their name to speak. Oh, Councilmember Radner, did you have somebody that wishes to speak with you?
Yeah, there's a resident who stopped by my house. He has trouble connecting to the Zoom meeting, and he'd like to address the council.
Okay.
Please give us your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
My name is Solomon Zeiler. My address is 26061 Ratcliffe Place in Oak Park.
And what's your issue?
I have basically 3 issues. One issue is that we were promised by some officials from the city of Oak Park that our street would have new streets in the fall of this year. We've been promised that for the last 7 years, but this year we must probably get a better promise that it was going to happen. So people are asking me to ask you, when do you think you're going to get it done? It was promised for this year in the fall. Now, fall has 2 meanings. To me, fall means when all the leaves fall, and there's nothing.
The block would have to chip in $100 each or something to get a street light, and we haven't had a block that would agree to that. What is your third thing?
The new lights that you put up on Lincoln and Marlowe Place, the new crosswalk that you put up on Lincoln and Marlowe Place.
Okay.
Well, most of the people that live between Marlowe Place, Stratford Place, Rain, Ratcliffe Place, real close to that crosswalk, we can't use it on Friday night. We can't use it on Saturday night until our Sabbath is over. I stood on that block while cars zoomed right through it. Why? Because I could not press that button to set off the mechanism going. And that has to do with the first question. It's cheaper to put in a street light, even on our block, than what it is to put in that mechanism that you put in, which today is basically useless. The school has no more people except for a glorified babysitting system. It's very frustrating, and it's just money spent for no reason at all.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you. We will get back to you. Kevin Yee, I wonder if you would speak to when the street repair of that street is expected, and what is the cost of a street light?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of council again. Yes, as we discussed and as was awarded at the last council meeting, I believe it was the last one, miscellaneous concrete was awarded at the last council meeting, which is what this project falls under. The whole street isn't going to be redone, never promised that. We are going to do some patching on that street and hit some of the worst areas. I believe there's 2 sections that are going to be replaced on that street, and those are going to be done this fall. So fall is still going. We really just got into fall, and it will be done. And that's what we've always talked about. Never any other promises that were missed there. To clarify, street light typically costs between $5,000 and $10,000, depending on the location and what, where it is, where it is and what type of lighting, if it's underground, if it's overhead, where the nearest lines are. And we typically would send a letter to the 12 or 14 affected residents who, if they want to pay for it, they can volunteer to do so, and that's how a street light is put in. I believe there was one more question. I apologize, I forgot what that was.
The crossing at Lincoln.
Oh, yes, the crossing was part of a Safe Routes to School project where we did work with the schools directly to find the safest place for school children to cross, and that was the location that was determined, and worked with the school to determine the best location for school children to cross. That's what the intention of that was. I'm sorry, that's what the intention of that was, and that's what it was done for. It was covered under a grant, 100% under the Safe Routes to School grant.
Can I make a statement now?
Thank you very much. Is there
Am I
any?
allowed to say something now?
No. Thank you.
Mayor, I have no one else who wishes to
Thank
speak
you.
at this time.
Thank you very much. Call to the council. I would like to say a few things about the municipal election. Our first batch of ballots went out September 23rd, and they are still going out. You can still request an absentee ballot. You can request to be on the permanent list, so you'll always get notified if there's going to be an election. Recommend that. Call the city clerk's office. The mayoral election is contested. I would recommend that you go to the Oakland County Times interview or the League of Women Voters to research the candidates. There are 2 millage renewals on the ballot. As City Manager Tungate said, they are not new taxes. And remember to turn your ballot over on the back, because the language is very long and the second renewal is on the back. You have questions that we covered earlier about charges for trash. Why are they in 2 places? It is a one lump sum that the city has to pay for trash, and we divide it up. It has been historically in 2 places because what we're paying on our utility bill is not enough to pay the bill for the trash removal. So part of it goes to taxes. It's not the same, it's not double billing, it's just splitting the bill between 2 sources. We could move it all to your tax bill or move it all to your water bill, but nobody wants either one of them to go up. So that's why we've maintained it as a split charge. Everybody should know that we are a government entity. There is no markup on what we are charged and what we charge you. We can only offset our costs. And if you watched the presentation earlier and you saw how much of our infrastructure needs to be fixed and how much we're fixing, you can see the need is great. We had 2 meetings with DTE. One was with the county and all the county mayors and city managers, and one was specifically for dealing with Oak Park. The CEO, Jerry Norcia, was telling the mayors that that the $25 rebate that you had to apply for was insulting, and he agreed that it was insulting, and they have switched to, if you're out of power for a certain number of days, you get an automatic $100 credit on your next bill. And we were out for 5 days, so that qualified for the $100 rebate on the bill. He also said that he knows that we're butchering some of the trees, but they have to do this in order to keep the wires free. 66% of our outages are caused by a branch falling on a wire. In our neighborhood, trees had not been trimmed and we were out for 6 days. We are not happy with the communication that we're getting about why are we not getting our trees trimmed. I think they've been doing the Texas 2-step for 10 years that I know of, and we're through with it. We are meeting with them on the 10th. We want a map of the City of Oak Park and a timeline, so to know where each of our sections are on the 5-year plan. I was told that our equipment is old and out of date, and we want to know when it will be replaced. Once they trim the trees, they will have a better visual on their equipment, but you think they would have information on their computers as to the age and condition of these grids. We asked about getting electric cars, and If the grid is up to that, they have to upgrade the grid to allow for electric vehicles. And they have to file a plan with the Michigan Public Services Commission at the end of the month. We can go as residents to EV residential homepage at DTE Energy. There is also, if you want to get solar power, they send us to MI Green Power Renewable Energy Program and rooftop solar and private generation from DTE Energy. We are among the 79 cities hit hardest by the unprecedented but now normal back-to-back storms that we had this summer. They made temporary repairs to our pole station. The north part, the Berkeley substation. On the west, the Northland, and if you're in the center, it's the Oak Park substation, which is located, I think, right behind City Hall. When they trim the trees, they trim by substation boundaries, not by city boundaries. So that is part of an answer of why certain areas are trimmed and others are not. But we are not, it's a mystery. It's been a mystery to the City of Oak Park and the city officials. DTE has committed to an enhanced tree trimming program to new specifications. So any limbs now 15 feet from the pole are considered DTE trees that they can trim. And for the first time, I'm not sure why it's for the first time, they're going to trim the limbs that are over the tops of the trees because they will fall on the trees, on the wires, and that will cause the wires to go out. If there's a tree on your yard 16 or more feet from the pole that presents an imminent danger to the wires, DTE will ask you permission first to trim it, so there's 15 feet of clearance. If it presents a clear hazard to the wires, they will ask your permission to take the tree down. We love our trees in Oak Park. We're a tree city, so it's hard for us. We always win a Tree City Award. We like nice round looking trees, and we don't like them looking lopsided. But in the 1950s, when our new homes were built, decisions were made by city fathers and by the utilities to put utility poles in the backyard, not in the front yard, because it looked better. So DTE is aware that oak trees cannot be trimmed certain times of the year, so do not worry about your oak trees. They are sticking to the DNR guidelines. There will be a new process for preventative tree trimming. Now, what you've seen and reported on in your neighborhood is not preventative tree trimming. It's part of the fixing from the last storms. The preventative program is going to start in the first quarter of 2020, and they want to get it done before the leaves come out on the trees. So they will mark them, photograph them, and record them to a database. A door hanger will put on your house to let you know about their plan. And within 3 months later, the trees should be trimmed and inspectors sent out to check the job. They want to trim the trees while the leaves are off, so they want to be finished by May. Proper trimming to this new standard, 15 feet and above, has improved reliability of lines 60 to 70% in the cities that have already been trimmed. So that DTE is committed to a 5-year cycle of tree trimming. I don't think that's what we've had in the past, but we're going to hold them very carefully to this in the future. If you are not happy with your service, you can make a complaint to the Michigan Public Services Commission and to the Attorney General, who has a site for you to put a complaint. We want to work with DTE engineers and arborists who are going to meet with our city directors, as I mentioned earlier, our city manager, our forestry experts, and the mayor this month to plan a full tree trim program before the summer storms hit. Believe me, I will keep you in the loop the minute we have this meeting, so you will know what I know. And please keep your concerns and issues and complaints coming while we have the attention of the bigwigs at DTE. I attended the Michigan Municipal League convention held in Grand Rapids during Art Prize, which is a fun trip to Grand Rapids if you haven't done that. Art installations are all over the city. You can buy the pieces of art or vote for the best one. I also went and saw a green energy project on the top of an apartment building and over a parking lot. That was from Consumers Energy. DTE has a large solar farm that they believe is even more efficient. Get active in your neighborhood. This is the time for you to make your voice heard. A good way to get started is to join a block club. And my next mayor's message will have block club names and contact information so you can get on their email list. Get active, it's a great first way. And another first way is join a board or commission. Thank you for your attention. And let's go to Mayor Pro Tem Burns, if anyone is still awake after all of that.
Well, thank you everyone for coming out. Thanks to the public for your comments. Please continue to practice safe distancing and be safe out here. COVID is still not over.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen to that. City Council Member Solomon Radner.
My neighbor is no longer at my house. I will encourage anybody who questions what he's saying, though, to walk down my street sometime at night. It is incredibly dark. It is incredibly dark. If you walk down Radcliffe Place or at the end of the street down Loretta Place, it is very, very dark. And we walk around sometimes at night and
what they encourage us to do is to encourage everyone to get LED lights for their front porch and to leave their lights on. That's the method that is being encouraged, because trying to get all that money from, to put in a new street light is just costly. And if we can't put them in on one street that requests it and not the other street, so put your street lights on. Steve Cooper, Director of Public Safety, encourages us every time we meet to leave your street lights on for visibility and to keep the criminals away. Porch lights, thank you, porch lights. Councilmember Julie Edgar.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I wanted to thank the mayor and the city for being firm with DTE. I think we just have to be consistent and really bring our complaints and suggestions to the company as often as possible. I think the $100 credit is kind of a joke because people lose that much just in food when they lose power. But I guess that's better than what they were offering before. So thank you for that. I just wanted to address Mr. Zeiler's concerns about the new crosswalk at Lincoln and Marlowe Place. I happen to live there. And I think that drivers, my experience is that they really do stop because it's like a beacon. I mean, you don't really even need to hit the light. I've noticed that drivers are pretty respectful. The only problem with that is there are a few problems with the crosswalk itself. I think the design is problematic because they pulled out a curb as you're heading to Lincoln from Marlowe Place. If you're not careful, you will run over that curb. It's not safe for drivers. And in the winter, people are worried that this is going to cause some problems. It probably will. Be that as it may, It's not so bad to have this crosswalk. Again, I think there are a lot of kids crossing from the apartments, and they are safer. So I don't mind it. And I'm happy that the city is going to be replacing parts of Radcliffe Place, the road, because it really is terrible. I mean, the entire road should probably be repaved. And I hope that, if I would say if residents are paying for the streetlights, maybe it's time to just petition residents on really dark streets, see if they're interested in paying for streetlights, because we have whole sections where you really can't see much. Lincoln is one of them. Lincoln between Tyler and Gardner particularly is very dark at night, kind of dangerous. The only thing that lights it up is the Congregation Beth Shalom light, but that goes off at 10 o'clock. So anyway, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Councilmember Sean Whitehead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just 3 points. I know it's been talked about in the city manager report, and the mayor echoed it as well, but the millages are important. That's on the ballot in 2021. I was talking to a resident this past weekend, and he said that one of the reasons why he stayed in Oak Park so long, over 20, 30, 40 years, was because of our public safety department and how safe he and his family and his son still stays here for that same reason. And so it's very important that they have the proper funding. And our director, Cooper, he does a great job. So it's very important on the ballot. Second point, I'm very happy about the proclamation that the library received for the library month here in October. That was recommended by one of our library board members, Zakia Holyfield, and that library board, as well as our library staff, they're really, really hardworking, super talented people. That the library is well on its way to being a hub for the entire community as we envision, and that's thanks to our director, Kimberly, as well. The third and final thing that I do want to mention is the Oak Park Film Festival. That is October 8th. I know it was mentioned in our communications director report. Just wanted to echo it. So October 8th through the 10th, Dog and Pony Show is the debut. And actually, you might see a couple people that you recognize in some of the films. I think there's 15 films total. And the one premiering, I believe, on the red carpet night is one that your own city councilman, Sean Whitehead, produced. So I think it should be a good time at Dog and Pony Show. So if you can make it out, please do that Friday. And then some of my students from our legislative boot camp, they'll be showing, I think at 2 p.m. on that, out of those 15 movies. 2 p.m. that Saturday, October 9th, is going to be the Hamilton remake that we did. Some of my interns that did so and produced. So, and then I think the Juneteenth documentary is being slated too for that weekend. So it's going to be a jam-packed weekend. I know there's going to be some workshops. Director Van Fleck has been working very hard on it since she's been back. So I know the chair of the film festival and the chair of the Arts and Culture Board really appreciate that. So hopefully we see you out this weekend.
Would you just repeat Dog and Pony Show, what date and what time?
October 8th, and I believe it starts at 5 p.m. I think that's the time it starts, either 5 or 5:30 on October 8th at Dog and Pony Show. And then there'll be other showings of different movies at the Community Center, Shepherd Park, and Sherman Pocket Park. If I believe I got all 4 spots. And there's still golden tickets, I think, too, which is a chance to win some prizes. So.
Excellent job. Thank you so very much. There being no further business to come before this council, this meeting is adjourned.